This looks like a pretty big disappointment on the earnings per share.
Yeah, and it's even more surprising because just a couple weeks ago, Exxon kind of warned you that they were going to have a very difficult quarter on the refining side. They outlined about $3.1 billion of differences relative to the fourth quarter. The biggest one of that was a contraction in the differentials between different types of crude oil in North America that accounted for about $1.3 billion of benefit in 4Q, and that went away. You saw Canada really compress a lot, and even the Permian and Bakken differentials, two of the main light oil grades in the U.S. now with all the shale growth, collapsing.
So that's downstream. They said they're going to control the downstream. They've got some good news upstream, don't they, with the price of oil? Shouldn't that be helping them?
It does, and certainly that's been a big component of the actual good part of Exxon. But as you mentioned earlier, they're outspending because Exxon just a few years ago was producing 4.4 million barrels a day. Now they're down to under 4 million barrels. So they really need to reinvest into the business. And when you look at Exxon as well, there's a very large component of gas. Some of it lags on 6 months, the LNG component. And so it takes a little while for that peak in oil to really flow through.
But going back to David's point, I'm just looking at crude oil just quickly on the Bloomberg. It's up about 45% from that Christmas Eve low. I mean, we've had quite a rally. We know about that. We shouldn't have seen more of a plus side here for Exxon's results?
Again, part of the exposure will lag on a 6-month basis.
So we'll see it, what, in second quarter?
So we'll see it in the second and third quarter. A little bit more on the LNG side, and then you're right. It actually helped, but again, last quarter refining was $3 billion. Downstream was $3 billion of net income contribution.
Fernando, it's not just a two-horse race, but Chevron's about to come out in a half an hour. They just announced a big deal, if it holds, with Anadarko. Are they ahead in the game of developing the new reserves that Exxon has been falling behind on?
They are, and really it's been because they kept their Permian acreage from a long time ago. This is a legacy position. Permian used to be a big producer back in the day, and Chevron never sold theirs. And so that they inherited that position, and that's going to bypass a large acquisition, which they're now making, but will actually be accretive to returns on our analysis.
But I do wonder about, you're right, you've got to look at the energy sector, look at all the players, and with the bidding going on for Anadarko, where is Exxon Mobil in terms of what they need to do, either on spending, on acquisitions? What do they need to do in terms of strategy?
Well, Exxon moved early, so they made acquisitions. They bought Bopco, which is a Permian producer. They bought a lot in Brazil, Papua New Guinea, Mozambique. So they've done their movements early in 2016. So now they're really spending to develop and bring that production online and stave off the declines that have been haunting them for the past several years.